25. We are racing GT3 cars across the world over 24 different circuits and many different weeks as well. Well, that has been in the past, and we've been waiting for the new season. Now it has finally arrived. It is GT3 racing once again, but with the added LMP2s in here as well. Multi-class racing for the first time here, which is going to be good here on the Sunday morning. Myself, Ewan and James Parfitt will be taking you through tonight's action, or today's action, and indeed most of the season as well. And we're looking forward to getting the Coffee Cup back underway. Thoroughly enjoyed the GT3s last season. Thought it was a great championship over the course of many months in the end. 24 races in the end as well. This one's going to feel a little bit different though. Multi-class racing and a few less GT3s because some of them have gone to the LMP2s instead. A different challenge for them this season. And slightly longer races as well. 75 minutes of racing on each afternoon for us this time around. And we're looking forward to getting it underway. Qualifying is just ongoing at the moment, and as we can see, James, it's a different look. Multi-class racing, LMP2s and GT3s on the circuit together this season. Okay, maybe you can't hear James at the moment for whatever reason. So we'll try and get him on mic in a moment. But yes, it is a different look to this field with two different classes on board, and indeed a slightly longer race as well. We're just in qualifying at the moment with about 15 minutes on the clock, and after that we'll be into the 75-minute race as well, where everyone will have to make a pit stop. GT3s have been limited as such that the pit window rather is going to be quite narrow. Will be for the LMP2s anyway. They're allowed to use all of their fuel over the course of these races because it adds up to about just over 40 minutes for them anyway. There's not much point limiting their fuel, otherwise they'll have to make 2 stops today. 1 stop required for everybody, just like normal. We follow Nicholas Marshall trying to get these tyres up to temperature. That's something we'll be talking about quite a lot throughout the races this season. The LMP2s especially getting their tyres up to temperature at the start of sessions and at the start of races is pretty difficult. Can we hear from you now, James?
Yes, you can. For some, yeah, really bizarre. It was working when we were in the green room, and then all of a sudden I go live and it all just stopped. Everything stopped. So there we go. One of the things I'm going to be interested to see first off is how many more LMP2s we get over the season, because we've got quite a short grid of LMP2s. There was 10, I believe, signed up. At the moment, I know we might have just lost Alfie Nichols. He's not feeling too well. He's got a bit of a cold on him, bless him. And unfortunately, he is looking like he's going to drop out. So the LMP2 field is only going to be about 4 cars wide. So a bit short, but the LMP2 is really interesting actually, because when it came, before, it's been voted as probably one of the best cars in iRacing, and that's the thing with this car. I'm surprised more people haven't taken it. We have swapped to this multi-class format as well. I am surprised they didn't separate the LMP2 GT3 qualifying. As you can see, they're all on track together, which is can cause a bit of a mess, but I think at the moment I'll be interested to see how it works out as the race goes on. Obviously it'd be nice to get more LMP2s in at some point. I'm sure they'll be working on that in the background. Good evening, Sam Katkazinos as well. G'day, James and Ewan, and apparently I'm back, so that's fine.
It's quite late for Tim, isn't it, at the moment?
About 9 hours ahead, I think, Australia at the moment.
Okay. I'd like to do the maths, but I can't. 11:30? Something like that.
Something like that. Sam, what's the time? Let's just ask Sam. What's the time in Australia now, mate? Oh, there you
go. Maybe he's in Perth and it's a bit earlier in the evening, but I don't know where he lives. So there we go. It's 11:30 in the meantime. Qualifying is going to be very interesting this season. Something I hadn't actually thought of before we come here to live when I was thinking about this broadcast earlier this afternoon. The traffic in qualifying is going to be an issue. Normally in series that are multi-class, you send the qualifiers out, or the classes out rather, separately. Now, I've got to say, I'm not a huge fan of that. I'm quite a big fan of just letting everybody out on the circuit together and just let them work it out for themselves. That's exactly what these LMP2s are having to do right now. You see, David Van Roy has found a bit of space, but we're on board, I can't remember who we were on board with just a moment ago, but loads of traffic going into the final corner there. And it's something really to contend with for both classes this season.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what we just touched on, was about the fact that the qualifying is all in one foul swoop. So it'd be interesting to see. He said it's Sunday the 13th of April 2025 at 11:36. He's been very precise for you.
That's a bit too much information, really, isn't it?
Well,
we could have guessed the date.
Look, we asked, he delivered. What more can we ask for?
He did. He certainly did. So thanks for that. Oh dear. Anyway, close to through for Marshall. Yeah, here through Piratella. Maybe it's just more pronounced because it is this circuit. Imola, pretty difficult in terms of traffic anyway. But it feels to me like it's going to be a real story of the season. It's going to be very interesting in 2 weeks' time to see what happens, because got Monza combined with no chicane. I know that you weren't on the broadcast, but I did. Well, only my second broadcast at that circuit only a few weeks ago, and it was very entertaining, I've got to say. Be very interesting to see what happens with multi-class round there, though.
Well, I have a slight confession to make. And that was, I may have got a message from Mr. Bradley Lovett, and it was like, JP, pick a track. After watching the racing that you were on, I may have picked that one.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's not a confession, because I'm going to praise you for that.
Yeah, it was great racing. I enjoyed it when the SR8s went hurtling around. I even watched it, and I don't generally watch broadcasts at any point. I might watch a couple back if there's something I was interested in or whatever. But I come off my own broadcast, and that was on, and I was like, oh my God, this is epic. And I continued to watch it right away to the end, so which is a new one for me. So yeah, when I was asked, it was either going to be Thruxton or that. And I decided that it was Monza Historic combined that was going to win.
Yeah, well, I've got to say, yeah, Thruxton was decent last season. I think multi-class around Thruxton would be especially interesting. But to be fair, we have had Thruxton very recently in this series. It was only a few weeks ago, I think. So
yeah.
I think
I think I picked that one as well, to be honest.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a good time in 2 weeks' time at the Monza combined. Unfortunately, I'm not here. I'm very upset about that.
You where are you? It better be worth it.
Yes, I'm going to have something to do with an FA Cup semi-final. Whether I'll be watching or working, I don't know yet. But or maybe both.
Who's in the FA Cup semi-final? Is it Forest?
We are.
Oh.
That's what. It's never happened in my lifetime.
Well, yeah, I bet it. No, it has happened. No, actually, when were you born?
No, I wasn't alive the last one. 30 years ago.
Oh my God, that was Spurs Forest, wasn't it?
I don't know. I wasn't alive.
I'm sure it was the Spurs Forest game, and I was there because we won 3-1. If I'm not mistaken.
Oh, don't ask me for details. I can't remember.
Oh my God, I'm literally now googling because I'm pretty sure. It was the FA Cup final in 1991. Spurs won 2-1 at Wembley. Apparently.
Yeah, I know we lost in the final.
Well, you lost 2-1.
So I'm going this time. So it could be another 30 years yet, and I'll be 52 then. So
all right, mate. Do you know what? I hate you right about now as well, because you're going, I'm only going to be 52. I'm sitting there going, I'll be 77. You go off people, when you bring them into this booth. I tell you that much.
Well, just in comparison to age now, it is quite a jump. Anyway, we'll try and get back on track.
Why? Why? You've already just stated that I'm old and you're young. That's fine. Sod it already.
Whatever.
No, anyway. I quit. I'm out. See you later.
Broadcast ended immediately. So, Darren Horverton currently with the best time overall, and in LMP2 as well, obviously. In GT3, Brian Faluna has currently got the best time as well. 5 tenths, actually, quicker than Alan Purser at the moment. Interesting to see who's in GT3 and who's in GT4. In LMP2 rather this season, and I think some of the names who were up towards the front, not here just for the moment in GT3. It's going to be interesting to see who's up towards the top of the championship this time round. With all respect to the likes of Brian Faluna and Alan Purser, well, they were pro drivers, and fighting up towards the front in certain races as well. Some of the guys who were fighting for the championship, like with Josh Herring, for example, not here just for the moment in GT3. So could have some new names to talk about for both our championships actually in this new season.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. Hobbiton, Venroy, Marshall, Bailey, and Alfie Nichols were all in, as you say, GT3s last time. So seeing them in LMP2s is going to be fun. Two young sparrows talking about ageing. I'm laughing over it, says Sam. I wonder, how old are you then, Sam, if we're young? Jesus, dude.
Young sparrows.
I know.
Right.
I've never been called that before in my life. Do you know what, though? I had a funny moment the other day. I went into the garage and I had to buy an over 18 product and I actually got asked for ID. And now, mind you, I've got a beard that's got grey hair in. But apparently, I still got asked for ID.
That is great. Earlier on, when I was doing the same, I did not get ID'd. And that has been happening a frighteningly little amount recently.
Oh.
So
all right.
yeah.
Smarty pants.
It's not a good thing.
Oh, okay.
It's quite frightening. Anyway, Five Paluna out the final corner. He's purple actually in the second last sector. And surely this could be an improvement. Although the first three might not have been quite good enough. Over the line he goes, not quite. It'll be a tenth or so away. Oh no, he just slightly shaves his lap time there by about 300ths of a second. It's not going to make the world of difference, but right now he's more than half a second quicker than Alan Purcell. I can't remember the last time anyone took pole in OGRL with more than half a second in the Coffee Cup. That's a very big gap.
Yeah, it is. It's quite a while. It's been quite a while since anything like that has even happened, to be blatantly honest. So there you go. Sam's apparently in his 50s. He says, Sparrow seems ideal. Two broadcasters chirping, sounding useful. Apparently. I'll tell you what, Sam, when I woke up this morning, I weren't feeling youthful whatsoever, to be honest, mate. I've got to be honest. I forgot to turn an alarm off. So my alarm went off at 8 o'clock. I was like, oh. There we go. Ooh.
Oh, dear.
Greg. Not a good place to be.
Greg tacks off the road down at the Villeneuve chicane. It is very difficult circuit, this one, and we'll talk about it a little bit more as the race goes on as well. But despite the fact it's gone through quite a lot of changes in the last 30 years, it is still very, very difficult, and the room for error is no less as tight as it has been. Damien Horton goes over the line again with a 36.5. That's the second quicker than anybody else has been able to go so far. I'm not sure whether it is that Damien's got more experience than the others in LMP2 in this car, but he is a lot quicker than the others right now in this qualifying session.
He's motoring along, isn't he, at the moment, Horvey? And then at the moment, he is, 1.5 seconds ahead of David Venroy?
Yeah.
As Bailey just goes up ahead. Marshall there, they're on a 1:39, 3.5 seconds back, to be blatantly honest. Venroy's got a green on the board in sectors 1. What's he going to be able to do? Ooh, nope, don't want to be doing that. So as he bumps that LMP2 curve over the, what was it? It's now not, it's Gresham now, isn't it? The corner name for that chicane. And then he's going to be coming into Ravazza, which has stayed the same. And we'll see how he gets on as he goes over the line. Purple in sector 4.
To even get any closer to Horvaden. Here as the seconds tick by. Not many left now on the clock. Here comes his LMP2, and he is going to improve by about a second, actually. So that's a much more respectable time from David Venroy. He's a lot closer to Damien Horton, and that shows that he might well be able to challenge late on in the race. We will see. He's Damien Horton now making his way out the final corner himself. A couple of personal bests through sectors so far, sectors 2 and 4. Does he get his nose further up front? He might well just do that. He does get into the 35s. 35.9 from Horton. He sets his fastest lap with his last lap, but he didn't necessarily need to. He's going to take pole in LMP2. See if William Bailey as well can get any closer here. He made a personal best last time around to jump into third.
Yeah, he did, and he's got one more corner to go. He's just got to bury the exit of Ravazza, and now he's going to run straight down to the right-hand side. Keep it to the wall, dear sir. Take the shortest route possible, comes away from the wall a little bit, and then goes over the line. What did he do for Bailey? 1:38.469. It is an improvement. Westhead, however, has had a great improvement at the moment. He is in a LMP2, not GT3. I'll just deal with that situation.
Okay. He's coming late, by the way. Westhead only appeared just at the very end of qualifying here, by the way. and he's only just jumped in, so he is now part of the LMP2 class, but he's not set a time yet, unfortunately. He will be starting from the back by the looks of things. Interesting to see which drivers have taken on the LMP2, but I suspect most of these drivers who were here in the Coffee Cup last season are, GT drivers, as it were, and don't do much prototype driving, because not many of them have decided to go over to the class. That's David Van Roy improving again, by the way, 36.0. And that would have been quicker than Hubbardin's previous time. It's a good job Hubbardin actually improved last time round, because otherwise he would have had pole snatched away from him there by David Van Roy.
Yeah, we're just waiting for Westhead to see what he can do. I don't think he's going to get this done, to be blatantly honest. I hope all is well with you both. I'm very well, Sam. I'm very well indeed. Thank you very much for that. Been a bit of a busy boy this week. I've got a busier week coming up next week as well. And I'm away, Sam, so lots happening up here in the JPB booth. And obviously Ewan's not going to be here in a couple of weeks either. He's going to go celebrate his football team actually qualifying for the semi-final of something.
Thanks. It's been a while.
Dude, I'm right in your shoes, mate. I am right in your shoes. As a fellow supporter of a team that goes up and down more times than a blinking elevator in Trump Towers, mate, I feel your pain. As Westhead comes over the line, what does he do in that car? Nothing, unfortunately. That's what he does.
I don't think he...
I think that was his
I don't think he crossed the line with enough time left, by the way. I think that was just purely for practice, to be honest. But anyway, it didn't count. And let's have a look at the starting grid with Demian Hubbardin on the pole. David Van Roy alongside, very close between the two of them. It looks like we're going to have a good race between those two in LMP2 as well. William Bailey, Nicholas Marshall and Richard Westhead will be the others at the front in LMP2. Alfie Nichols will not start by the looks of things. He is ill here today, unfortunately. Alan Purser and Jonathan Williams will be on the front row together in GT3. A great qualifying from them. Brad Tidwell just in behind, and then Brian Faluna to round out the top 10. Some late changes there, because Faluna's time suggests that he was quicker than the three in front of him, and Tidwell's time suggesting he was quicker than Williams, but that's how they've been ordered. They've been ordered very weirdly. Con Modric and Yaden Young next on row 6, ahead of Mitchell Bowen and Cody Bont. Then it's Rick Modric. Bit of a jump back to Chris Slane, and then Pernod Hanno with Heath Hollander alongside. Greg Taxley, we saw in the wall at Villeneuve, got to 19th, ahead of Brad Basil with Brian Dukowski. These times are very weird. 21st, Michael Champlin then next, ahead of Tim Probert and Jim Sawyer. In an all McLaren row down towards the back end of the field. John Gardner and Mark Ossier, another McLaren row towards the back with Curtis Matthews actually at the back. Why are they ordered like that, considering the qualifying time suggested they're completely different? I don't understand.
If I could answer that question, I happily would, okay? I don't have no control over that. That is literally something that's gone on within the timing software itself. So that's nothing to do with me whatsoever.
But are they on the actual grid? Are they like that, or is that just how we're seeing it? Because
hold on,
this is
Alan Purser's on the front row.
They are on the grid.
Yeah, Purser's on the front row.
Hang on a minute. So these drivers have been ordered by manufacturer in alphabetical order, it looks like. Not alphabetical order of manufacturer, sorry. The BMWs, though, have gone first, and whoever's quickest then next. Then the Lamborghini, the only Lamborghini of Tidwell. Then all the Porsches. Then the Corvette. Then the Ford. Then all the McLarens. Then the Acura. Mm-hmm. Why on earth have the manufacturers been ordered like that?
Right, I can't answer that question, but I do know that there was an issue with the session because every car that was in this had their own class when I first jumped in. So I've had to make some adjustments to get them all into GT3 and LMP2. As of the situation after that, I can't control. That is down to whoever set the session up, I'm afraid. I will reach out and I will find out very shortly what has gone on.
Oh, it's a bit of a mixed up grid in GT3, which I think is going to be a good thing. I thought the order was a bit weird. And it certainly turns out to be. So those who have got work to do certainly include the likes of Jim Sawyer and whatever in the McLarens. Some of these guys in the Porsches do as well. But Purser and Williams being on the front row in GT3 together is going to be a very exciting thing to watch. As the drivers now make their way through the final couple of corners. Well, we'll set all that aside just for the moment because the OGRL Coffee Cup is about to get underway for another season. Multi-class racing here for Season 3 over the course of 6 rounds. It is going to be They're in Overton to get the season underway. The green flag waves, and we are racing for 75 minutes as a new season of the OGRL Coffee Cup gets underway. Overton leads from the front ahead of Devin Venroy, with William Bailey just alongside, and he backs out of it. Bailey backs out, and Venroy will get up into second. In the GT3s, look at this mixed up field. It's going to be an exciting start to this race as Alan Purser leads in towards turn 1. Tipwell on the inside line trying to defend from Brian Faluna, who's going to look to get that first position back again after his qualified performance. He does get up to third place, at least early on, ahead of Tidwell off the start of this race.
Yeah, as I said, we'll work on the situation after that, but Faluna at the moment has got to make his way forward. All the Porsches are all together. The Lambo, Tidwell sat in there just all on his own for him at this moment in time. The LMP2's out in front, spreading out quite a lot at the moment. You can see they're about 7 tenths up front of each other already. So a lot still to play for, I'm sure, with these guys. We'll find out what goes on here as we go into the 6th place where all the Porsches are situated.
It's so bizarre, isn't it, to watch all of them in one long line here. Side by side, indeed, down in towards Acqua Minerale. Nearly Modric down the inside of Hayden Young, who I think qualified surprisingly far down the field. Yeah, it's one of the better drivers we saw towards the back end of the Coffee Cup when it was just GT3s towards the end of last season. And under pressure from Cole Modric here is not something we saw too much of in the previous season. Heath Onger, meanwhile, is being overtaken further down towards the back end of the field. The McLaren, Corvette and Acura being stuffed at the back end of the field has certainly disadvantaged a few drivers, although with all respect to them, I think most of those drivers qualified certainly in the second half of the field anyway, as they got through the qualifying session. Out front, Demi Overton leads, and it's by about half a second over David Venroy. Those two are going to be hounding each other all day long. It's going to be between first and second in LMP2. I think the others are going to struggle somewhat to keep up with them.
Yeah, I think they are at the moment. I'm just trying to get the whole timing software to work properly at the moment, and it's not really doing any of that. So bear with us on this one as we continue to fight. As these guys are continuing to scrap it out up in the LMP2s at the moment. Horvaten is there, sitting in first place currently. I don't know what's gone on with this session, but it is kind of a little bit mixed up.
Yeah, the top 14 in GT3 have all... I think we reset it halfway down the field, and so that the standings on the left-hand side are not quite correct in GT3. Tim Prubber is not indeed in 4th place, although he is going down the inside for 7th, it looks like. One of the better McLaren drivers who's been put behind all of the Porsches, as we've been talking about. And so down the inside at Tozer is going to give a place there, by the looks of things, to the McLaren. There we go, through on the inside line. That was a pass on Chris Slane in the Porsche, who has now been demoted to 8th by the looks of things. Nice pass down in the middle of the pack. Jim Sawyer gets past Heath Ollinger as well in towards the downhill of Acqua Minerale. It's another pass from one of the McLarens working its way through the field as well. So I think so far there is Sawyer up another position. And it looks like everybody's gotten off to a nice quiet start here in the field. The LMP2s go over the line again. It's Overton versus Venroy for the race lead as they just cross the line right now. Half a second between them. New fastest lap from Overton, but Venroy is staying right with him.
Yeah, that's all jumped around now. That should be everybody hopefully in the right places. We'll give them a minute to go over the line of the GT3s, and that will jumble around quite a lot there. Michael Chaplin is having a nice little battle with Curtis Matthews and Greg Takacs. I think that's right. Unless it's a silent K, of course, and then it's completely wrong. But there we go, as Chaplin having a nice little run all the way down into Tamburello at the moment. Chaplin in that big old gruffy Mustang with Curtis Matthews on the inside, looking to make a move up the inside of Greg. Get the job done. So Curtis Matthews does go through.
Yeah, nice move into 17th in the Acura. Started at the very back end of the field in that Acura because of the grid. Alan Purser then leading the way. Now, I said that Brian Faluna was going to have his work cut out because Williams and Purser started on the front row. Well, he's got into this race pretty well here, and within 5 minutes, he's challenging for the race lead pretty keenly now. Looking for a move in towards Acqua Minerale, not able to do it. Purser holds on to the lead through here, but looks like a matter of time here to me. Brian Faluna looks very, very quick here this afternoon at this circuit.
Yeah, he does at the moment, and Purser's going to have his work cut out in that BMW. I don't know how much longer he's going to be able to defend him for, but he's got to try and fight with that Porsche as much as possible. And for Purser, it's all about going to be driving defensively. Put your car in the right place and hope it works out and Faluna doesn't do anything crazy. But at the moment, he's holding on nicely.
Yes. Over Vatsa they go. And now the problem for the Porsche is going to come because the long run down the front straight is not particularly advantageous for this Porsche. Especially, well, not especially compared to the BMW. Actually, it's not one of the fastest in a straight line, but the Porsche is one of the slowest, and that is a problem for him. Faluna over the line pretty much exactly the same time as Purser. As further down the field, Hayden Young sets the best lap time of the session. Faluna not able to make a move in towards Tamburello. Look at how close it is, though, through the top 7 especially, all right on top of each other. Yeah, we have at the moment, and we've got this nice little run up front of Venroy and Horverton. They were very, very close about 2 minutes ago. And now these guys are about 4 tenths back again. To be fair, it's very close indeed. So for these guys, we'll keep an eye out on the leaders of LMP2 for a minute and see how they get on. We've got 1:09 on the clock. Surely this race is going to be defined by traffic for these two LMP2s. Pretty similarly matched when there's none about, but what is going to happen here when they have to start overtaking the GT3s, because there are quite a lot of them, 21 in the race, although Michael Champlin has just come into the pit lane, unfortunately, after the opening couple of laps, opening 3 laps of this race, so I'm not sure why he's had to do that, but that is going to set him back 1 lap down and well into last position already as well. New personal best from Horverton, 37.1, and he pulls a little bit further away from David Venroy. Still a long way away from traffic though, and because the LMP2 and GT3s are not that different in terms of speed, it's going to take them quite a while to catch up, and they're only going to lap them once or twice.
Yeah, they are. I think that's going to be the thing. Where are we up to at the moment? Lap 5. I think it's going to be probably lap 7 maybe before they even get to them. Faluna and Purser here with Williams in behind them. Jonathan Williams is trying to close down and give his BMW counterpart of Alan Purser some help as these guys go fighting it through and coming into Tamburello at the moment. It's going to be interesting to see what goes on here with the 2 BMs and the Porsche in behind. Is Williams going to have the pace to stay with them, I suppose?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think he will, but you just never know really in this field. Could be difficult for him to stay with him. Meanwhile, in the sky, by the way, it's got very gloomy suddenly. Meanwhile, I'll get back to that. Faluna down the inside in towards Tozer, and Purser had to give him the room there. It was a good move by Faluna because he knows in the straight line he's not going to get anywhere, and now that on the straight line towards Piratella, he's experiencing that, but he does have the inside line. He'll have his nose in front now, and Purser will just tuck him behind him. It's an opportunistic move from Brian Faluna, and he's taken the lead after 8 minutes. Yeah,
he definitely did, and we wondered why Chaplin went straight back to pit lane. Well, this is an incident that he's been himself caught up in for Michael Chaplin. Oh, bro. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Ouch. Oh. Ouch.
Okay. Well, that's why he's back in pit lane. Indeed is... now indeed out of the race, which is a shame for Michael Chaplin. Down to 20 in the GT3 class as we see the leaders again. All the gravel has been brought onto the circuit by him as well, by the way, so that's going to be kicked up throughout the remainder of the race by everybody. But out front in GT3, it's Brian Faluna who's taken the lead, and it was an opportunistic move in towards Tozer as well. He just got a better run through the Villeneuve chicane and decided to go down the inside of Purser. He knew that he had to make a move, not on a straight, and that was the perfect place to do it, really, at the tightest corner on this circuit.
Yeah, it definitely was, I think, for him. That was where the Porsche has got to shine through the corners. It hasn't got that top end to compete with some of the cars in behind him. So for the Porsche Faluna, he had to make that move into the corners, and he did, and he's done it rather well. We've still got 1 hour and 5 on the clock. They've got 65% fuel in the GT3s, 100% in the LMP2s. That generally revolves around about 40 minutes for the LMP2s. 65% could be near enough the same for the GT3s. So I'll be interested to see how this pit lane cycle works out for the first time.
Yeah, that will be about halfway through this race. It won't be a big window for either of the 2 classes, actually, but it will be about halfway through the race. This is a bit further back in the pack as Carl Modric and Mitchell Bowen try and get past Bradley Tidwell. Decent driver, Tidwell, of course. He's won the Pro-Am category in the GT3 only Coffee Cup last season, but staying with these guys is going to be a bit of a challenge for him, a little bit higher than where he qualified in the Lamborghini because of the grid, and so Modric and Bowen are going to look to come through pretty shortly here, but Tidwell's holding his own at the moment with the leaders.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how Tidwell gets on here, whether or not he's going to be able to stay with Hayden Young, whether or not he's going to be able, he obviously, you know, we know from Tidwell's sort of aspect that he's always going to pick the Lamborghini, and he picked it again. So, you know, I'm expecting sort of him to be the most comfortable. Alan Purser, obviously, and Jonathan Williams in the BMWs continuously. However, for Mr. Dudkowski, it has not gone well for him at this moment in time in that Corvette. I'm not quite sure what he got up to. Oh, bro, where you going? Where are you going?
Ooh, that's late.
Very late from Brian Dudkowski.
Tom Perno-Hano in the Porsche. Dudkowski has a lot of work to do, of course, after starting from the back end of the field, but that wasn't the way to do it, unfortunately, for him. This is while at Tozer, back to that battle we were watching earlier on. The top 7 are still very close together in GT3, although having said that, Brian Faluna is getting away a little bit more. Seems very, very quick this afternoon for some reason. You know, I apologise for sounding so surprised, probably sounds a bit rude, but just against some of these drivers like Purser and Williams and Hayden Young as well, who we've seen so much of last season going well, it's just a bit of a surprise to me, to us, that Faluna is this much quicker than everybody else. It's, last time round, 1.4 seconds quicker than Alan Purser.
I think the thing is, the guys in behind are sort of fighting to a degree, and I say that in the loosest possible term, partly due to the fact that obviously they're kind of playing this follow a leader, but for Hayden Young, who's got Tidwell tucked up right behind him, Tidwell's going to want to have a go at him, and it's that normal scenario that we've seen Ewan before, where the front man escapes, and then the second man will escape, and then the third man will escape, and this pack in the next sort of 20 minutes, half an hour, you might find them a little bit more spread out than they are now.
Let's see if the Porsche is able to use any straight line speed here. Carl Modric getting past the Lamborghini maybe as he gets right into the back of him almost. Is he going to even attempt to move here? Now he finally does pull to the outside line in towards Ciambarello. And will he hold it round there for the first bit to get the inside at the second? Sort of, but not really committed quite enough. And Tidwell holds on to 5th place. Mitchell Bowen is looking for a way through as well. Very close. And here comes Probert as well in the first of the McLarens, now caught up to the leaders.
Yeah, Bowen and the back end of this group, Young, Tidwell, Modric, Bowen, they've all been fighting. That's given Probert enough time to catch up here. And I'll be interested to see what Probert does do, whether or not he's going to come and start going through these guys, or they're going to continue to fight out. You can see Rick Modric and Cody Bont having a nice little battle further back in the battle of the Porsches. And we've also got Dudkowski and Perno-Hano. Obviously, they're coming together. They're fighting further back as well. All settled down in the LMP2s at the moment. Horverton and Venroy separated by about 7/10 as they're continuing just to kind of, well, looks like happily follow each other.
However, they are in traffic now for the first time. They have just overtaken 20th placed at John Gardner. Now they're going to take Marc Cossier in the McLaren. It's going to be through the corners where they're a lot faster, so this could be quite tricky. And they're going to get split here. Overton's going to get through before Akko Minerale, and Venroy might not. Oh, that was quite nice, actually, for the McLaren. And so through the LMP2s go, but have a look at what's coming up just up ahead here. From 18th to 11th, it's all quite close. Chris Slane is in 11th, and then further back down is Curtis Matthews in 18th. It's not all one long line being started by Chris Slane by any means, but it's a lot of overtakes that on the next lap these two are going to have to make. Yeah,
they are. And I think it's going to be planning out how to get through cleanly. It does look like 19th place has just had a little bit of a moment. He's dropped back as Perno-Hano and has caught himself in with this group. He's just been passed, actually. He's just coming through Ravazza 2 in the back. So we'll find out how these guys carry on and motor their way through as they're coming up to Curtis Matthews at the moment.
Meanwhile, Probert just got past Mitchell Bowen for 7th place. And the McLaren still working its way forward, but yes, this is traffic for the first time this season for the LMP2. Overton through, on the inside there of the Acura, and now he's going to be followed by Venroy. They're going to be split apart now in towards Villeneuve as well. As they turn the rear camera on, can't see what Venroy's doing, but it's going to be a squeeze. I think the bit of miscommunication there, if you like, with the Porsche that thought maybe it was going to go to the outside. In the end, it stayed to the inside there, did Overton, and so he just slipped through now. Venroy does as well. They've stayed together so far, but still a long way to go in this traffic.
Yeah, there's a big group, isn't there, as we know, from second right the way back. That's going to be an interesting play, and how they're going to manage that one, I think, is going to make it even more interesting. It'll be whether or not Venroy can stay with Damien Horvaten as he's continuing on that run up to Grassini, the right hand, right left chicane. They're going to take a little bit of curb on the entry, a little bit on the exit, and away they go. Horvaten, of course, coming up to the back end at the moment. That is Brian Dudkowski in front of him with Penel Hanno and Heath Ollinger in front of that.
Into Ravazza, there's going to be no chance here. There's going to be a spin. That will help. That's Hanno going off through the first part of Ravazza there. So that's one lap car dealt with pretty easily. Venroy is pretty strong out the final corner here as well, and maybe there's the first chance here in the slipstream for Venroy. Horvaten's getting caught pretty quickly now as the slipstream's taken effect, and Venroy decides with traffic up ahead he doesn't want to go side by side into Tamburello.
Yeah, and the best thing about that Venroy did there is Horvaten didn't catch the Porsche either. So it wasn't like he was losing time with the Porsche going in front first and then him having to try and go through. Horvaten didn't make it through. So at the moment, really for Venroy, he's not really lost anything any differently because Horvaten didn't make it through. So these guys have just got to now put their heads down, but they are starting to come into that group of second down to about a seventh, I think it is, that are going to be running close together.
Yep. It is the most exciting group, I think, in GT3. They're still quite a long way ahead of the LMP2. It's taken them a while to get up to the leaders. It's quite a stretched GT3 field already, and it's worth remembering that there is no classes this season in GT3. It's all one big class this time around, and so that makes it a good deal different to what we've had before in this series. Through the final corner and onto the front straight they come again. Cole Modric right in the slipstream now of Tidwell, who is just going to be on the defensive here in a moment. Doesn't have to defend this time round though. They all follow one another in one line. Probert, as I said earlier though, got past Mitchell Bowen and now he's catching up to them as well. He'll be really fast in a straight line in that McLaren as well, so Modric's going to have to watch out for that in the mirrors. Yeah,
he just wants to make sure that he doesn't get too much involved with Tidwell. If you're going to get the pass done, get it done. Don't hesitate with him or in general sort of fluff around because you're not going to make it other than that. David Venroy, however, has closed up and they've used that traffic, I believe, of JT behind them, and now they've got the Porsche Chris Lane in front. So is Horvaten going to make it?
Oh, wow!
Oh, he did.
Goodness me, that was a classic bit of miscommunication between two drivers there. Now I think that was Chris Slane, yeah, it was, in 11th place. Just wasn't quite sure whether Horvaten was going through, and you know they could both take a bit of responsibility for that. Horvaten should probably have made his intentions a bit clearer, and Chris Slane probably should have been a bit more committed to what he was doing as well. Either pull off to the side and let them through and make it obvious, or don't do that and stay on your line. Either is fine, but you've got to make it clear which one you're going to do. Tidwell versus Probert, meanwhile, is side by side because Modric's just got past the Lamborghini, and now Probert's going to do the same here. Round the outside line and into the inside at Ravazza. He's got to get that slowed in time, and he hasn't. He hasn't quite got it slowed, and Brad Tidwell gets straight back through again on the inside.
Yeah, he went for it coming down into Ravazza and didn't get that stopped, unfortunately. But he should get him again here. Depends which way Tidwell's going to send him. I would come off the wall and start just squeezing him a little bit, giving him something to think about. But at the moment, Tidwell's not doing that and giving him a lot more room. That should give the inside as well. There was a swap in the BMW. Hayden Young has cleared Jonathan Williams, and also Tim Probert has got through there. So Hayden Young is now going to set after Alan Purser, as Williams has got Cole Modric now in behind him.
Certainly has. Hayden Young moving up onto into a podium place here in this race. So going towards Tozer now, and there's contact! Contact! And whether that came from the BMW of Williams himself straight into Young, or whether he was hit and then hit Young, I'm not sure. Let's have a look in towards the hairpin here. Was it all down to Williams here? Looks like it. He wasn't hit by anybody, just a little bit carelessly hit the back of Hayden Young, and look at that stack up in behind. They all just about avoid.
Yeah, they did. Unfortunately for Mr. Williams, that's going to be a message to Hayden Young a little bit later. Sorry, son. Just carried more speed than you did into that corner, which is what he did do. And unfortunately, Hayden Young hadn't got out the corner yet before he put the power down and just went straight into his back end. However, Tim Probert has said, thank you very much for that. I'm going to come from the back of the pack to the front end of the pack now, chasing down Alan Purser. So it's a Porsche, BMW, McLaren, and then a Porsche and a Lamborghini in behind that. So Tim Probert's come out of this one the winner.
Yes, and to be on the podium now in that McLaren compared to where he qualified is an absolutely fantastic, or where he started rather. He qualified second, but compared to where he started, that is a very impressive drive. It'll be a bit disappointing, I think, with the way that the grid was set up, because it's really preventing him from having a chance of staying with Brian Faluna here. In qualifying, he was the closest driver to him. Not been able to show that here in the race. Just in behind, the LMP2s are about to lap these guys, and so that means the first run through traffic will be complete. Although having said that, these GT3s are not that far away from starting to lap people of their own now. The field is so spread out, so it's going to be almost constant now for the two leaders.
Yeah, I think they're going to be GT3s every lap after this. I'll be very surprised if they're not. You can see that the 19 going into Ravazza at the moment, and that is Heath Ollinger, has just been lapped by 5th place in the LMP2s, and Hornvaten now is going through. I mean, his leader of his GT3s is on his run up into Acqua Minerale, and I don't know how much longer it's going to be before, as you say, they start doing inter-class lapping.
It's not too far away. And Hornvaten is now constantly almost putting just one GT3 between himself and David Van Rooij, and it is really helping him along. Just keeping a bit of a margin here, just keeping a bit of a gap, keeping Van Rooij at arm's length, which has been so good at so far. Now he won't be able to, though, here at the chicane, and that will allow Van Rooij to get a little bit closer. He will get this Porsche of Carl Modric on the way down the hill towards Ravazza, though. That will restore the one car between him and Van Rooij. Rooij should get both of these GT3s on the front straight, and Horvatin will have to slow down through the corners for them a little bit more, but it's not made much difference out of the final corner now. And Horvatin will go past the McLaren. You'd imagine Van Rooij will try and do the same on both here, though the McLaren is very strong in a straight line. The LMP2s are not that much faster. Even with the slipstream here, Van Rooij's going to have to do it on the brakes here after a big slipstream. Is he going to get down the inside at Tamburello? No, he didn't. So this is going to really balloon now, the gap between first and second. Yeah,
Van Rooij's going to have to drive his socks off now. And he needs Horvaten to get held up in a chicane, in a hairpin, in something on this circuit where that for Damien Horvaten is not going to be able to get through, because I can tell you what thing, if he does not get that gap, as you say, is going to extend even further at the moment. So we'll keep an eye on it. It's whether or not he's going to be able to clear Alan Purser here. And is he going to be able to get the job done? He is. Takes that position and obviously puts another lap down on him as well, and runs very wide in the process.
So Horvatin leads pretty comfortably now in the front of the LMP2 race. Brian Faluna leads pretty comfortably as well in GT3. Quieting down for the lead, but for the other positions there's plenty still going on. Robert is not that far in front of some of the others. Further behind though, it's Bowen versus Tidwell for 5th place, which is one of the closer ones. Tidwell still hanging right around where he started this race. Qualified in the 6th place, Tidwell, so he's right around where he should be now in the order after the first, what is it, 25 minutes I think we've had now in this race.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think Tidwell is probably positioned in where he's supposed to be. He's hasn't gained any, hasn't lost any. The same with Mitchell Bowen, the same with Alan Purser. Everybody else within the GT3 class has lost places. Pernell Hanaut has lost 7. Matthews has lost 5. Marc Ossier has gained 5. And so, yeah, quite a lot of gainers in the GT3 class, but that obviously has been due to some incidents as well, and it does look like we've just had Richard Wested make a bit of a drama.
Let's see what happened to the latest arriving of our LMP2s today. Bit late on the brakes there, and had to almost come to a stop to avoid the wall. He got that just a little bit wrong right from the very beginning of that chicane, but they don't really like slow speed corners, these LMP2s. They're put to be going at high speed, and that's certainly not one of those corners. Ben Roy's going to catch back up to Horvatin again now, because through Acqua Minerale, Horvatin is so right down behind Faluna. Although, will that one-car gap be restored again now by the race leader? It looks like it, in towards the chicane, and so as soon as Van Roy gets close, he then has to back off a little bit and gets a bit further away again. It's really, traffic is giving and taking, as it always does, and Van Roy has done a good job to get this gap now down below a second for the first time in a while. And there he is, through the final corner, end of lap 16, and he is in second place, but only 3/4 of a second off of the lead, doing a good job to get back on terms now with the leader. A couple more GT3s coming up now, and they'll be lapped for the second time, so it will be almost constant now.
Yeah, you are right. 48 minutes on the clock. You can see Horvatin and Ben Roy. That didn't really affect Ben Roy because Horvatin got him so late going into the corner. I think that just allowed Ben Roy to take his line normally and come out, because normally if he got it wrong, he'd be a lot further back, and he's not. He's like 4/10 at the moment. It'll be this next run through of people, whether or not he's going to have a problem. That's going to really work it where it is. That, of course, in front. Wow, very nice. Way polite. Very polite.
What's happened to Cole Modric in the last couple of moments, by the way? He's dropped down to 8th place suddenly in the field, and that is. Oh, was that Rick Modric? Sorry. Cole Modric is already down in 10th place. I can't remember. One of them certainly had problems. This is Wested. Has he had different problems through the chicane, or is this the same one again? It looks quite similar.
It's similar, yeah. I think it's similar. I think Williams may have had an issue in and around this at the same. Oh, is he on the grass? No. What does he do? Oh, dude, you're way too quick.
Bit fast.
Too fast.
Oh no! For that angle, it looked like he was going straight in the wall, but it's actually further away than what that camera angle made it look like. This is Mitchell Bowen and Brad Tidwell who were fighting it out. Maybe it was these two who came to blows. Oh, Tidwell got that wrong from the very beginning, and there is contact. Wow. Oh dear. And Bowen actually turned around completely by Tidwell. One of the LMP2s takes to the grass and the gravel to avoid. That was Tidwell's mistake, unfortunately, and Bowen the one who actually felt the consequences of that. They're down to 8th and 9th.
Yeah, unfortunately they've dropped down the order. Cole Modric and Tidwell, they are back together on the racetrack here, but it's the two front runners in the LMP2. Gaps fluctuated around 4/10 at the moment. You can see Van Roy being quicker over some parts of the circuit and Horvatin being quicker over others. So that's the last lap count, the last 5 laps there. You can see Horvatin is winning, but Van Roy does pull out that second on lap 16.
Pit stops are already underway actually for Bowen and Tidwell, whether that's and Chris Slate. Wonder whether that's a reaction to the incident that those two just had, or whether they are seeing this as a strategy. I would say that with the fuel limits we have here, hitting right now is a bit early on the GT3 side of things, but we will find out what the result of all that is a little bit later. We're still not expecting a pit stop from these guys just yet. We're not quite at halfway. We're just under 4 minutes away from that, so any point after that we'll know they can make it, but for an LMP2, rather, to be making it 42.5 minutes is not too much of a stretch. They should be fine to get to the end with just one stop here in all the races in LMP2, maybe with the exception in 2 weeks' time. They're going to be using a lot of fuel at Monza.
Yeah, they are, but whether or not it's going to affect the fact of their pit stop strategy, they could generally last about 40 minutes if they stay on the same 100%, 65% for the GT3. So I will be interested to see how that works and how much, whether or not there's going to be any fuel saving taking place either.
And also a hugely fuel heavy circuit because of the or the layout that we've got anyway, it certainly is. So It'll be very interesting to see what happens there. As Probert passes Purser, by the way, for second place in the GT3s. As a McLaren flying past a BMW with such speed, actually, such overspeed that I would suggest Purser might have made a mistake, actually. Probert to go through.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he did anything. I think Probert just got him on the run down into Tamburello, mate, to be blatantly honest, I think.
Oh no, there he goes. He's pulling off there.
He doesn't really fight it, which seems very weird. Like, I thought he would have at least given him a run down into turn 1, and this is Mitchell Bowen. Oh, that's right in front of the leaders of LMP2. Oh!
Wow. Big Simon starting a good save from Bowen in the end. He gets back going again now, although he's made a pit stop. So he's a lot further down than what you'd expect. And these two were just about able to avoid. Good driving from Gordon and Ben Roy there. Just taking the option of just slowing down. And it sounds silly, but just slowing down can save you from a lot of things. And that's exactly what's happened there for those two in LMP2. They still lead. They've got a huge margin over the rest, but they themselves are very, very well matched on pace.
Yeah, they are at the moment, and they're the closest battle on the racetrack at the moment. Sparky AV8. I'm sure I'm supposed to know who that is. On vacation this week, but joined in the field next week. See you at Monza. Keep up the great work, gents. I don't know who that is.
Don't turn up next week because we ain't got a race, but in 2 weeks' time.
2 weeks' time, yeah. Come and join us in 2 weeks.
I'm sure that's what he meant, but anyway. It is Easter next week, of course, which I've really forgot about.
It is, and I've been swiftly reminded by the wife that although we're not here, we're at obviously Santa Pod, I have been reminded not to forget the Easter egg. There was a bit of drama over Mother's Day the last time we were up there, and it did cost me a bunch of flowers yesterday. So
the mini eggs have been in shops for so many months. I'd just forgotten that Easter hadn't already been.
Yeah, and do you know the worst thing? I saw me and my wife was talking, and she turned around and went, "You do realise after Easter, there's no other major holiday apart from Halloween, and then we're going to start seeing Halloween stuff in the shop from the end of June, beginning of July." I was like, "You're joking."
Oh, that's when you know things are about to get miserable. When you see Halloween stuff in the shops.
Time just goes. Is it me, or is time speeding a lot quicker? It feels like it's just flying by at the moment.
I'm not sure. I don't know. Christmas and Halloween last year feels like quite a long time ago already, really. But
I don't know.
Maybe it's different.
As you get older, everything flies by, mate. You know what I mean? The only thing that doesn't fly by is you when you're trying to walk up an hill.
Mitchell Bowen having a rather strange incident and jumping back to pit lane.
Yeah, I don't know what he did.
Here. No, I think he's just decided to retire, unfortunately, from this race, which is a bit of a shame for him. And the others and the rest will continue on. Just the one battle in LMP2 that we've been following on. Just the one in GT3 now as well, between Cody Bont and Richard Modric for 5th place now in the field. These two LMP2s will get past another GT3 into all Zacca Minerali. They're all being quite nice here today, pulling out the way and letting them through. We have hit half distance as well, so expect to see pit stops a bit more frequently, and both Modrics come in as I say that.
Yeah, there's a reason both Modrics come in. I think Rick has got himself caught up in something here. I do wonder.
Oh! That was not great lap driving there.
I don't know if RCA got caught out there, so watch RCA.
Trying to stay off the racing line.
Yeah.
This and watch. Oh, and he only just avoids the Porsche as well. He effectively sacrifices himself not to take somebody else out there, which is very honourable of him. But I'm afraid that's exactly why you should never get out the way off the racing line like that, or at all, because you're so much more unpredictable. The driver's trying to pass you, don't know where you're going to go, they don't know when you're going to slow down or not. I know that he's trying to be nice, and sometimes it works, but it is so dangerous to try and get out the way of someone and be nice that you might as well just stay on the racing line and run your own race. Let them pass you. because when you're slowing down off the racing line, especially in those situations, you're crossing the racing line, for goodness sake. It's like crossing the road or trying to cross a motorway. It's a terrible idea, and I'm afraid it's only going to end in an accident. And unfortunately for Modric and Ossier, it's ended in a pretty big crash there.
Yeah, I think he was trying to be nice. I don't want to berate the guy. Normally I'm the big one on the blue flag. Get out the way, you've caused an incident. I don't want to berate the guy. I think he was trying to move to allow Modric to come through. Unfortunately, there was just a miscommunication from Modric, who wanted to take the inside line, and it ended up in a little bit of drama. I don't know. As you know, I'm normally the big one for ranting and moving now. That's like a zero IQ moment. But for Ossier, I can't really see that. There was just some miscommunication, I think, for him. I think that's what he should have done, is what he's just done there. Stay to the inside and run the corner.
So
I'm trying to be nice, Ewan, for a change. It's part of my turning my leaf process.
Turning my leaf?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I'm turning the leaf. You know, it's from not berating drivers for blue flags. I'm trying to give them an excuse.
I'm not sure. I don't think I've ever heard that before. Turning a leaf.
Yeah, you must have turning over a new leaf.
Turning over a new leaf?
Yeah.
Turning a new page, heard of. Not turning a new leaf.
Well, I am older than you, so if any... Right, I'm going to Google it. I'll send it to you.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, I mean, look, it feels like the nice thing to do, and it feels safer to get out the way, but it's actually not. It's actually more dangerous to try and do that, and that's exactly why. That's a classic example, a great example actually, to everybody, especially in a multi-class series, that getting out the way sometimes is not the best thing to do. For sure, there's good circuits for it and bad ones, and unfortunately this circuit, because it's so tight and narrow, it's actually quite a bad circuit for getting out the way, quite difficult. As we're seeing here, same story, when you're trying to pass somebody, quite difficult for the same reasons. As we get to 38 minutes to go. Still no pit stops yet in LMP2. They've been allowed to keep 100% of their fuel loads this season, and it's given them quite a wide pit window as well, which is a good thing. So far in GT3 we've had quite a wide pit window as well, which I think is a good thing. Keeps the strategy interesting, although I would have liked to have seen the GT3s allowed to keep 100% of their fuel as well, because that would have given us a huge pit window this afternoon. But we've only got 65% fuel, isn't it? 65?
Yep.
Yeah.
That is Richard Westhead in pit lane for the first of the LMP2s. There goes the leaders as they come roaring through here, so they get to carry on. Westhead in pit lane. Fastest lap for Horvath and 36.415 with 37 minutes remaining. The interesting thing, we saw Westhead go up and onto the jacks there and change tyres. Now, the normal rule is about an hour, but obviously when you do endurance races, you do double stint tyres. So I'd be interested to see which of the LMP2s change tyres and which don't change tyres. Because at the moment, Westhead's been in for quite a while and is still on his way out now.
If it's over 22nd, yeah, that'll be that's full service, that for Westhead. Well, you might as well... In some ways, you might as well take them, because the fuel that you're going to need to take is covered by the tyre change. So you don't actually lose any time, but... when you do lose time, is out the pit lane here. Watch these first two laps. Well, we're not going to watch all of them, obviously. We've got other things to watch. But this is going to be a slow first lap. Oh, and there you go. There's exactly the problem. The LMP2 new tyre model means that they come out ice cold. And that is why, personally, I wouldn't change tyres, because this part is really, really tricky.
Why have they... This is the thing. Surely they don't act like that in real life. You don't come out warmers. Yeah, but they don't come out like, like you're Bambi on ice, surely.
Well, they kind of do, to be honest. Prototypes, especially at low speed,
don't stick them in
cold
tyre
tyres
warmers.
are horrific.
You got no tyre warmers at all in IMSA?
No.
Learn something new every day.
And here it comes Ben Roy, not quite. They're just passing. I think that's Bailey coming out the pit lane, isn't it?
Yeah.
Onto the circuit again. Only 34 seconds in pit lane for him, and the way he's taken off, I don't think he did change tyres, and there's the difference. But yeah, I mean, especially in cold temperatures, I know it's fairly warm here today, but it's not that warm. here at Imola. I think the track temperature's in the 20s here at the moment. Oh, excuse me, it's a bit higher. So, yeah, the warm-up phase should be a little bit easier. But even so, as soon as they come out, the first chicane especially is going to be really hard. Saw a couple of people chatting earlier that you can't really push 100% until you've done 2 laps on the new tyres. Yeah, in IMSA and indeed any other series that uses LMP2s and no tyre warmers, it is really, really difficult, especially because, as I said, the first chicane, other slow speed corners, prototypes are pretty useless, to be honest.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. I learn something new every day. That's partly due to the fact I don't actually watch that. I don't generally, mate. They're too long for me. I'm too old to sit there. My attention span is not long enough to sit there for a 12-hour race. I might catch the highlights, that's about it.
I'm quite happy to be fair. So, there you go. We've got that
I can
covered
just think of
us.
so many things that are better to do. Can you not think of other things to do rather than sit in front of your screen and watch 12 hours of racing?
Um,
Oh my God,
not many.
oh my dear. That's how I go.
That's all I do, sit at home and watch sport when I'm not working.
It's sport. I
meanwhile,
watch, like today, I watched NASCAR, but...
And Dukowski having trouble here through Rivazza. It's not the first driver we've seen go around there today. So surprised how many GT3s with the traction control and everything have gone around on power. Wonder if he's had a bit of trouble again here through Tozer. That's Brad Tidwell just in behind him, and he's gone on the exit, gone right around again. He's just pitted, by the way, only a lap or two ago, as all the GT3s have now actually. They've all pitted because they've reached the fuel limit. In LMP2, we still haven't reached the fuel limit. We're nearly 45 minutes into this. No, more than that. What are we? Yeah, no, we are. About 45 minutes into this race, nearly.
Yeah, that's the thing. We are quite late in, and they say we did have 100% fuel for the guys in the LMP2s there. This is Modric and Hanolt having a little bit of a ding-dong. Greg Takacs, I'm going to call it. That's probably wrong. But he's also had some little bit of dramas going up into the left-hander. Oh, bro, you've done way too much power at the wrong point of the corner there, unfortunately for Greg. And around he goes. The LMP2s are coming back together. Sorry, forgot my YouTube name isn't the same as iRacing Wolford from OGRL Rookie Coffee Cup season. Well, there we go. Oh, it's confusion. Oh my God!
Oh
Watch
dear.
that. That did not go well.
I was looking away through the timing screen, and Horvatin, well, playing a dangerous game here, to be honest. Oh my word! Well, good driving from him in the end, and fair play to Dukowski as well for staying out the way, because that could have been an accident. But aggressive from Horvatin on the entry to pit lane. Both of them. Oh no, are they both on the jacks? There's one of them on the jacks here. Devin Van Roy doesn't look like he's changing tyres to me, but Horvatin is.
I think Van Roy's going to have the advantage here.
Yeah, he's going to be in the lead in seconds. So let's just watch this pit exit here. Don't normally focus in on people who are just sitting on pit lane, but this is going to be quite interesting. Firstly, who's going to get out first with 32 minutes to go? Horvatin's going to be first, followed by Ben Roy. They take the same fuel, but look at that burnout from Horvatin. Ben Roy would have been flooring it as well, but the tyres are too warm actually to lose the grip and do a burnout. So have a look at this in towards turn 1. Horvatin's pit stop was actually a little bit closer, but immediately on traction. Already loses a bit of time, and watch this, he's got to keep it on the road at the very least here, and if he can hold on to the lead as well, he'll have the race won. That's what's at stake for the moment, but for a lap or two he's going to have to defend pretty hard.
That makes no sense. Why is Ben Roy slower? I know they take tyres and fuel at the same time, don't they, in the LMP2s now, but I don't know, that makes sense to me.
Maybe Ben Roy changed tyres when we weren't looking as well. I don't know.
No, because Horvatin got there to the pit boxes first. So effectively what we saw was what we had.
Yeah, it's weird, really. Can't quite work it out for the moment, but we'll see. Because Horvatin's doing a very good job at the moment with these colder tyres. He's going to have to slow for the Porsche just up in front here. And Ben Roy's got to try and strike on this lap if at all possible. He's going to have a very good run up the hill here. He's got to at least follow through in towards the chicane, and this is going to be dangerous for Horvatin to try and get through here on the Porsche. It's going to be difficult on the brakes with his first lap out the pit lane, but he's done well. and he's holding on to the lead here. This might seal him the advantage to take the win here tonight.
I'm surprised Vin Roy didn't go for lap round that Porsche at the same time. I'm actually shocked that he didn't. I thought there was enough room. I thought there was plenty of room for him to have a go. He's only got one more lap then after this to try and get Horvath, and if we're going to go on the basis of 2 laps, and then this is going to be Van Roy's opportunity. He's only got this 1 lap now, otherwise Horvath's going to be back up to speed, and it's all going to just dissipate.
I think he's got to have a go here in towards Tamburello at least. It's going to be hard for him to make this move, but he's got to have a go. He's got to realise the gravity of the situation here, but no, he doesn't go for it. Horvath breaks quite late, and he pulls it up in time, and pretty well done as well. So at the end of a lap, he should be somewhere close to up to speed now, and Ben Roy is going to start to lose time because he's on older tyres compared to Horvath on new tyres now that they're up to temperature.
Yeah, he's got 30 minutes to play it out here for David Van Roy. There's been... Oh, dearie me. What was going on down here? It's not him you need to focus on. Watch Curtis Matthews.
Oh, that's why Ossier pulls straight off the circuit. And Matthews spins on the inside as well of the Variante Alta. Ossier's trying so hard to stay out of everybody's way now after the incident before. But pulling himself off the road there.
Yeah, but he's doing it wrong. And I don't... I don't mean to be too... Was there contact with that LMP2? No, there wasn't. He's doing it wrong. He needs to be slower now. Like, you know, if he is that dead set, right, so let him go and then go through the corner and then release the other 2. You don't have to completely trash your race to do something like that. He could have come through the corner and then gone to the left-hand side if he wanted to get out the way. It's just a more bit of an understanding of where and when that he's got to be able to do things, and he's just doing them a little bit too... not late. Well, late, I suppose, would be the word.
It's... I think that incident before is hanging over his head a little bit at the moment, and he's maybe overcompensating for that afterwards as well, as he's to make their way down in towards Ravazza again. The 2 leaders, by the way, going to Villeneuve, absolutely nose to tail here. We'll see if Ben Roy can stay with Horvath now, because he'll have those tyres up to temperature, but he'll be on newer tyres here, so I just don't really see a way that Ben Roy is going to be able to get past him. But you know, they're very evenly matched. For 2 drivers who have had very different strategies through that pit stop, they're very well matched.
Yeah, they are, and this is the thing for Van Roy. He's now proving that obviously he can hang with Horvath, and you know, we've still got the likes of other people to come back. Of course, Alfie Nichols wasn't in because he wasn't here. Mark Long is not out on track. We've got obviously Bradley Lovins as well. There's a couple of others that have registered in the LMP2, so we'll see what goes on. I think it could end up being a nice little 4-car fight between Horvath and Ben Roy, Nichols and Lovins, if we can get them all on the track at the same time.
Yeah, let's see. It's down in towards the Ravazza corner again. Horvath down the inside, goes through, as does Van Roy on one of the Porsches. It's one of those a lap down, I think, because that's Hayden Young just up in front here as well. Just pulling to the right-hand side and staying out the way on the way down the straight as well. Now up the hill, Modric versus Sawyer into the chicane as well here. There's a battle between the 2 at the end of the straight, and well, Sawyer got past Modric earlier on in the day because he started behind. It's been a good recovery for JT Sawyer, getting himself into 8th position.
Yeah, he's moved himself through, hasn't he? And he's got Bradley Tidwell in behind him. Obviously with Modric closing in as well. Sawyer up 6 places from where he started. So a great recovery and a great climb for him. We'll see. It'd be interesting to see how he gets on here for old JT and how much further he is able to go. They are closing in on Slane, but they are closing in ever so slightly, so they've got to be a little bit mindful of Chris Slane, who's got Sawyer behind. You can see Sawyer pulled out 2 seconds over lap 26, so he's but it looks like Slane has gone quicker over 27.
That's sort of going back and forth a little bit. Traffic will be playing a role in that as well, because we have just seen Richard Wedstead pass these guys a couple of laps ago, and just in the background William Bailey will be coming up to these guys pretty shortly as well. So traffic will be playing a role for sure. So it's slightly defensive shape on the way towards Tozo, with Modric just in behind him, who'll get the run out of the corner as they approach a lap car of their own actually now in the GT3 field. I'm not sure who it is, just in front of Chris Lane for the moment. It's John Gardner, I think, in the McLaren. So will he maybe play a role in this one now? Because the GT3s are actually passing other GT3s quite often now.
Yeah, they are, and it's worrying how they are quite still far back. I am surprised that they've lost so much time. I don't think we've seen this much over the season of just GT3s, have we? I can't remember where we've had cars 3 laps down.
Not particularly.
Hmm.
It's just a little bit of a longer race, I think. You know, we'd have 4.5 minutes to go in the previous format, so it's maybe by the end of the race it would look a little bit like this, but it's just the fact we've still got so long to go. Carl Modric, meanwhile, has to come into pit lane. He's already been in.
I wonder if that's drive-through.
Let's see. Is he stopping in his box? Is he staying on the fast lane on the left-hand side? It looks like he is driving all the way through. Does it? No, well.
No,
is he just cutting the distance off? So, yeah, full drive-through, which is a bit surprising round here.
Somebody's been a naughty boy with off-tracks, I would say.
Quite a lot to get in an hour and 15. As Cody Bont has made a mistake somewhere, because Jonathan Williams is back in front of him again. Williams is back to 5th now, by the way. Even despite his spin at Tozo with Hayden Young, they're 4th and 5th again.
I would like to say that they do only have 12 incidents and then 5 every after.
Yeah, but it's Imola.
Yeah, Imola's tough on off tracks at times, mate. Listen to you, like you drive Imola every week.
I know, yeah.
You know,
I don't even think I own it.
I'm going to talk from experience. Imola, yeah, but it's very hard. It's very tough because at certain points when you're coming out of Grassini and things like that, you've got the exit, and if you sneeze at it, you get an off track. It can be quite tough to keep this car inside the 12x limit, mate. I'm not surprised that we've had a drive-through.
All right. I mean, yeah, I don't do a lot of driving.
Don't you go there and give an education.
I do, however, do a lot of watching other people driving. So there you go. That counts for something. And in my experience, is what I'm saying. I haven't seen very many drive-throughs at Imola. For off tracks only. So there you go. There's my experience. Anyway, second between Chris Lane and JT Sawyer. Again, that's the closest battle on the circuit, I think, in the GT3 field for 7th place. And it's Sawyer the one coming through the field because of the grid. That McLaren started quite a long way back, although he might have just had a slowdown because he's suddenly dropped to 3 seconds on the front straight.
Yeah. For JT, it wouldn't be surprising. So we'll see. Here you can see Tidwell is coming in the background, and he goes into 14th. That wasn't an overtake. I think that was a back marker tucked in right behind him. It's John Gardner here. As now Tidwell and JT are down together.
Yeah. Tidwell is and JT sent himself straight off the road, and that is one of the easiest passes Bradley Tidwell will make. He's up to 8th position, and Sawyer almost at the sight of the Lamborghini there, just threw himself off the road.
Yeah, a little bit strange from JT. I think that was a little bit of mirror driving. So unfortunately for JT, he's going to have to try and come through. And that battle that was going to materialise has now gone down. I think I figured out the problem with the issues with the timing tower when we go into grouped. It's because obviously they're all in their own classes for some reason. So I think that's what caused the problem. So we'll leave it on this one for a minute.
Each car, you mean, is in a different...
each car is in their own class, which is a little bit weird.
Yeah. So, instead of sorting the grid overall, the organisers have put the LMP2s and GT3s separately, so that even if somebody didn't get a lap in, like what Richard Wedgstead and Alfie Nichols, had they both started the race, Wedgstead did, if we did it grid sorted by overall, they would have started behind the GT3s, and that would have been a problem. Because not least the fact they'd be miles behind the people they'd be racing today, but also they'd have to overtake the GT3s pretty much at the start of the race, which would be a little bit dangerous. And so to alleviate that, they've set it by class, but unfortunately the classes have been set to each manufacturer by the looks of it, and that has proved to be a big problem for everybody. This is Marc Ossier, meanwhile, going for a bit of a spin into the wall. Wow, pretty hard into the wall, actually, at Piratella there.
Yeah, and you can tell where that come from. If you watch his right side going through Piratella, he hit the drain. He hit the outside, there you go, and onto the AstroTurf, and unfortunately onto the curb, and around he went for Marc Ossier, who's having a somewhat of a bit of a miserable day.
He is, and he's pulled into pit lane now. Wonder whether that is going to be that for him. We'll see whether he gets back out onto the circuit again to complete this race, as Matthews has got Hayden Young right in behind him. These guys being lapped now, but they're in their own battle here. Curtis Matthews versus Rick Modric. You'd imagine that Modric will be able to get away with that 14th position. However, Curtis Matthews is not far behind, and he's got traffic to worry about as well as the leaders come through. So a lot to think about in this battle right now.
Yeah, you can tell the lead gap is kind of spread out in LMP2. They're sort of 3.1 seconds apart now. When we talk, I've spoken to Venroy previously. You know, he's very nice. He's very sort of calm and, you know, placid. William Bailey's now in pit lane again for the LMP2. I wonder if that's another drive-through. I do wonder, though, if he's too nice to be in the LMP2 class. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. What I mean is, you know, from yourself and from multiple races we watch, LMP2 drivers are quite aggressive, or the faster class are generally quite aggressive. And I don't know if Venroy, to lose that, that's a drive-through as well for William Bailey, to lose that 3 seconds, whether or not he's just been a little bit nice when it comes to overtaking back markers and not pushing the scenario like Horvath did going into pit lane.
I mean, he'll probably come for a chat with us after the race, so you can ask him that if you
okay,
if you want. That question's not coming from me. That's for sure. Yeah, it's hard to say. It's a different kind of driving from just being a GT3, either being passed in a multi-class series or indeed just a single-class series with all GT3s. It is different. I don't know whether we're confusing the way that he just talks to us afterwards with his driving style. You know, he is like that to talk to. You know, very kind. But I'm not sure he's necessarily quite like that as a driver. I think he can definitely turn on the aggression when it's required. He's just got a lot of patience, I think, and a lot of patience before he does really turn up the aggression here. And maybe that has cost him a few seconds here, but I think he's certainly the underdog in this battle. And qualifying would have shown that. Horvath was a lot quicker for Venroy for a lot of that session. It was only very late on that Venroy got anywhere near him, really. Meanwhile, the lead's been hit there. The leader's been hit by one of the Porsches, trying to follow through on that car, and he's got away with one there, Devin Horvath.
But this is what I mean. Is this a move that you would never have seen Venroy make? You know, and he's just been that as well. Why would you come straight? Unfortunately, this is where you've got to look at Horvath and go, dude, you've literally cut Modric's sight off straight away. Watch, he just cut straight in front of him. Modric ain't going to see that. Bro, you've got the inside. You've sent it free wide. Leave them blinking room on the inside there, bro. Don't come straight across him and expect him to stop. That's what I mean. It's the difference between Horvath and now who's got in pit lane due to probably a drive-through.
Yeah, has that just tipped him over the edge, or has he got damaged? No, it's just tipped him over the edge of off tracks, and that's exactly why we can criticise a more patient drive or whatever. But in the end, it might have won David Venroy this race. A little bit more patience, calmness through traffic, and in the end, he hasn't been hit by a GT3. He hasn't hit any GT3s himself either, and we've got another drive-through. Now, the question now is going to be, how close is Devin Venroy to a penalty? And is he going to get one before the end? But surely with the gap that he's got, he's going to be taking things very cautiously now. Yep,
exactly. He will. But that's what I was talking about. Is whether or not Venroy had that kind of aggression, but has that not having that aggression saved him from doing a drive-through? Yeah, it's a question, as I said, that we'll ask at the end. But I think that's where I was going with on that one. Because you've got to look to a degree at Damien Horvath there. coming straight across the nose and cutting off the sight line of Modric on the inside. That's one of the things that drives people crazy. Look at that. He's giving him no room, no sight, nothing. You've got to give him more room. You can't just go doing that. That is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, I'd probably leave it as a racing incident between the two because, it's certainly one where, in theory, the Porsche shouldn't have hit the back of the LMP2, but also Parfitt didn't help by pulling off right in front of him there. You've got to remember, as you say, that the LMP2s stop a lot quicker, they're a lot lighter, and they haven't got particularly better brakes, they're just lighter and stopping less force, I guess. And the GT3s do have a lot more weight behind them, and therefore take a lot longer to get stopped. So got to remember that when you are a driver in these LMP2s especially. Unfortunately, Parfitt in there didn't remember it or didn't action it, and he's now got drive-through as a result. 21 seconds for Vemroy, and as I say, this might well have been a slow and steady wins the race case. It doesn't look quite as spectacular when somebody's not driving aggressively or whatever. It doesn't look like they're being particularly spectacular, but actually sometimes the unspectacular, unnoteworthy thing to do is the best thing to do, and Vemroy has proved that here this afternoon.
Yeah, it's like the hare and the turtle, isn't it? You know what I mean? You might be a little bit too hare and the turtle. Yeah, that's what I said.
Her.
I didn't. I said hare. Oh, blimey.
It said her like H-E-R-E.
Modric, anyway, Modric and Slane are having a battle, Mr. O'Leary. As he goes over there, Modric does go through. But no, that's what I mean. It is like that scenario, isn't it? You know, you're slow and steady wins a race, and that's what he's done. And you can see Hillerix there as well. Smart driving wins this for DBR, so well done. Yeah, that's not a racing incident, boss. That is being impatient and just costing the race. I think it's the other way round. I feel the GT3 have awesome brakes, and they brake later than the other class. Moving in front of the GT3 wasn't a good move. No, I agree, Sam. So there you go. As these guys now he's going for again.
To James's point, by the way, that's exactly what I mean by racing incident. I know it's cost. I know that's exactly why I say racing incident. Parfitt has cost himself the race there, and the Porsche didn't do anything wrong. So effectively, the punishment has been served, if you like. That's what I mean by racing incident. He
gave himself a drive-through, didn't he, by getting here? And
oh yeah,
you know, you're going to cut the sight line off somebody, and I think that's one of the things that drives me crazy when I drive road is people do things like that. They go past you and then just pull straight in front of you, and then you hit them, and they're like, "Oh, what did you eat your for?" And you're like, "Are you being ridiculous? Like, I get the overtake, but pulling straight in front of me right before the braking zone, what do you expect?" You know what I mean? I think people just need to learn. If you're going to send it free wide, give them room. They are still going to be there going into that braking zone, and moving straight in front of them, silly move.
It has cost Parfitt in the race by the looks of things, unless David Vemroy gets a drive-through of his own as well. Meanwhile, in GT3, plenty of battles still going on here. This is for 15th place between Rick Modric, Curtis Matthews and Pernod Hanno as well. It's one of the three-car battles in the field, and then into GT3 traffic as well, or rather people are overtaking them. So that's Jonathan Williams just in front. Cody Bont is in the yellow and black Porsche just in the background by the looks of things. Yeah, there he is. The sort of dark yellow in the background. So it's very busy around this part of the field, and you wouldn't want to be at LMP2 catching up to these guys, but that's exactly what William Bailey is experiencing just for the moment. And Jonathan Williams does go down the inside, meanwhile, of Modric. Can Curtis Matthews capitalise on that, maybe? Out of Tozer. Not really, his run not quite good enough, but he's putting the pressure on now for 15th.
Yeah, he definitely is. Modric here trying to make his way forward. Is he going to be able to do that, though? That's going to be the thing for Rick Modric, because he has got Curtis Matthews pressurising him. Is that Jonathan Williams in front of us there?
Yeah.
So these guys are another lap down on the guys in front of them.
They are one lap down on the leaders,
right, okay.
and indeed those in front of them. Meanwhile, Tim Probert has had to make a drive-through as well, by the looks of things here. That's, what's that, number 4, number 5? Something like that.
Yep, there's a couple that have been in so far. I told you, it's not good around here if you start getting this wrong. It's going to drop him down to about 4th in class here. So
that's a big gap.
Yeah, but not too, nothing too dramatic. Let's put out Hanno. He's just about to go past us there as well.
Cody Bont's got to drive through as well here. Marc Ossier's in. They're dropping like flies towards the end here. The off-tracks have been quite tight here today, by the looks of things, tighter than I thought they were going to be. And it has proved to be problematic, although Cody Bont's stopping here. Maybe he's got some more fuel to take on. Marc Ossier hasn't. He's got to drive through the pit lane just once again. So that's a shame for them. The battle for 15th again, or rather, what position is it for now?
It will be 16th in class.
Yes, Greg Tax has been actually caught as well in the Porsche. So then it's Tax, Modric, Matthews, and Hannell. There it is. It's Tax right at the front of this, and Jonathan Williams is in the middle of all this as well in the BMW, looking to try and get through and just put a lap on these guys. So he's just one lap ahead of these guys right now. Faluna's just coming over the line, by the way. So they're a lap and a half down on him. But Tidwell right in behind Bont now. He's got the chance to maybe move into 6th position here with a pass. And that's going to help. An LMP2 down the inside. Tidwell's going to follow through.
Yeah, that was Hove and putting a lap on these guys as well. So he has gone through. Is Tidwell going to hold that inside line? Be brave. Be brave. He did and was and got through for Brad Tidwell. He had to do it, and he did get it done. So fair play to him as we go into the last 9 minutes. Hilaric says, "Oh, okay, my bad. Misunderstood what you meant." So there we go.
It's yeah, we're in agreement. I'm just
yeah, in agreement. You just don't cut in front of a blinking GT3. You know what I mean? There you go. That's the
moral
agreement.
of the story.
Yeah.
Chris Lane has dropped back to pit lane, and that's a tow as well. There's been an incident here. What has that? Side by side down the pit lane with somebody. Hello. Tell me they've crashed on the exit. Please don't. Oh no.
Oh
no!
God.
You could see that coming, and it is just
JT.
not wide enough, that section of the track. What on earth was going on there?
That was JT Sawyer.
Why were they doing that?
I don't know, Mr. O'Leary.
I mean, Sawyer should be. Well, who should be backing out here? I'd decide myself.
I don't really know.
Oh, it's at that bit of wall there. It depends who came out when, I suppose. Some would argue that because Sawyer is in the fast lane, Slane should merge behind him. But to be honest with you, I think because Slane's got his nose in front, he's entitled to go ahead. I don't really know what everybody else thinks. That, though, shouldn't be happening, really. Side by side out. At what track does that work, side by side out of the pit lane? I mean, they just shouldn't be doing that, really.
Right, so he stops, okay? What does JT do? JT's coming in. Now, this is JT's drive-through. Does he drive through, or is he going to stop as well? I think he's going to stop. So I think there's some miscalculation there. So who got where at that moment in time? All right, so we'll let this play out for a minute. That's somebody else coming in. Oh.
Close.
Yeah,
I don't know what I think.
I don't really know. I just know that this is the first ever crash I've seen coming out of a pit lane ever.
It's slightly strange. You don't often see it, but the fact that neither of them backed out, neither of them fought, because both of them have a case there to say that they should be the ones backing out. To be honest with you, Slane's not in the fast lane and Sawyer's behind. The fact that neither of them thought, oh, I'm not in the fast lane, maybe I should back out of this, or I've got my nose just behind here, I should probably back out. The fact neither of them had that thought process is kind of baffling to me, really. They just both came out together. I mean, and as I say, at what circuit in the world does it work going side by side out of the pit lane? The whole idea of a pit exit is that it's one car wide.
Yeah,
so I can't really understand that.
No, I don't get that either. Unfortunately, I don't understand either. I think the fact that you are right, that one of them should have turned around and gone, you know, let's give it room here. We're not going to make this work. And unfortunately for them, they didn't. That was I love Sam Cat because he just goes, "Oops" in YouTube chat. That was the big. I think that's the first time. No, second time I've actually seen somebody coming out of pit lane and spun. The first time was the old Ford, and it was at Daytona, and the old Ford there, and it went round coming out of Daytona.
The old Ford? Which
the old Ford? The long
GT3?
one. Yeah. The GT3?
Long one?
Yeah, or was it the GTE? GTE, maybe. don't know.
I don't know.
Leave it. All right. Leave it with me. Let me check. God, blimey. It was the...
Just say it.
Which one was it? It was the Ford GTE. I think.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I think it was the recent one. The Ford GTE was coming out of Daytona, and it unfortunately went round coming out.
They're only made 8 years apart. It's,
Oh, just...
Anyway.
I'm blowing raspberries at you right now.
Gets himself through. He moves to 12th in class, ahead of Greg Tatch now. And 5 minutes to go. They will just have a little bit more traffic to let through. That is the race leader just in behind, I think, David Van Rooij. Oh, no, excuse me, that's second place. Owen Horvath in first, and then William Bailey, who's actually got a lap down to second place. This race has certainly shown who's the fastest of the LMP2s, and probably going to stay that way this season as well. Van Rooij and Horvath in a class above the rest. I guess it just depends what happens when we add in some of the others as well. As you were talking about earlier on, Bradley Lovins isn't racing today, for example. Neither is Alfie Nichols, just to name two examples of those who were in the Pro GT3s last season of the Coffee Cup. So they could add some interest into this, but it's pretty much a two-horse race in this race. It's probably going to stay that way throughout some of the other circuits as well.
Yeah, I think it is here at the moment. But I think until we get everybody else on track, I think it definitely will be just a two-horse between these guys. I do think, though, when Lovins is in there and Alfie Nichols is back, obviously get well soon, Alfie, you know, he got a bit of a man flu. I think it will make it very, very interesting indeed. I love Jones. Look, that's the first that one's got me scratching my head. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just couldn't get a blinking brain working. Anyway.
Sorry about the pit exit.
Is he talking about the pit exit or the car? I don't know what he's going on about. I've lost it all for effect. So there we go. There we go.
There's plenty to be scratching your head about, I suppose. Meanwhile, Brian Dukowski at 9th place in the only Corvette, and now Greg Tax is in. He's having to make. I've noticed a lot of stops having to be made here. Some GT3s made some early stops earlier. I don't think they had to. They sort of decided to, and it's forced a lot of them into making 2 stops here today, as there's another drive-through.
Just slow. Unfortunately for him. Alan Purser, however, and Faluna are starting to come together. The pit exit. Oh, okay, James. That's fine. So, there you go. That's Hayden Young and Alan Purser. Young's closing in with 2.5 minutes to go.
Yep, he is. So this is a battle for second place, and that position, of course, has been vacated by Probert in the last couple of moments as he took another drive-through penalty. There's going to be at least 2 laps to go here for the GT3s, and it sort of depends where David Van Rooij in the lead is. He's just coming round the final corner now, so he's about to take 2 laps to go as well. Will he lap them again or not is going to be quite a big question, and hopefully they've got the fuel to do another 3 laps just in case he doesn't get past these 2, because he's quite close, but he's not right on the back of them just yet. We will see how many laps they have to go. It's the beauty of multi-class racing. These guys actually just don't know for the moment.
Yeah, I think that's the thing for these. They're just going to have to carry on and see what happens when they get to the end. How many they're gonna? Where are they at the moment? They're at Tozer at the moment. Where's the leader of? Oh, he's right up behind, coming up behind them as well. So there's at least going to be 1 or 2 more, isn't there? I think, unless Van Rooij gets Alan Purser and Valuna, and then it might not be.
Roy's going to get the white flag this time round, but he passed the others. Not side by side, sorry, but close between Marshall and Wedstead for 4th place, and they're coming through on your screen right now, passing Brian Faluna, putting him another lap down here. He's a long way ahead of the rest in GT3, 20 seconds in front of the rest. This has been a dominant drive from him here this afternoon, even despite being put behind some of the 3 drivers, actually, because of the way that the grid was ordered. He's been able to get past them within 7 minutes, and he's dominated this race. Yeah,
absolutely. For Faluna, done a great job there as well. I do not like the look of this.
Oh dear. David Van Rooij has had problems here. Oh, yeah, 2 laps to go, and Van Rooij has... Oh, he's hit the back of a McLaren. Now, was he close to a drive-through, and has that 4X pushed him over the edge? Are we going to see a lead change at the very end here? David Van Roy is coming out of the final corner now. Does he have to pit? No, he can carry on. He looks a bit damaged, but he's got 14 seconds to limp home with.
Yeah, and I can't quite work out what really went on there. I don't know if one checked up and the other one didn't, or what the situation was, but it did look a little bit weird. So he comes around the corner. What does that McLaren just kind of stop, does he?
It is John Gardner.
He does stop.
I think he's trying to, I don't know what he's doing. I think he's trying to be nice again and stay out the way on the outside. But again, this is exactly why you don't try and get out the way. It is way more dangerous.
Go through the corner.
Like that.
Yeah,
go space on the inside. I know that there was space on the inside, and if Emroy was expecting it, then he could have gone through on the inside. But that's exactly the point. He wasn't expecting it, and so Gardner braking early on the racing line there has just forced him to completely rear-end him. And that, once again, is exactly why you don't try and get out of the way for the LMP2s, because you're just going to create more problems than you're going to solve. This, meanwhile, is David Van Roy, though, and as long as he's kept the off-tracks to a minimum on this last lap, and he's managed to get to the end with his incident limit still intact, he is going to win this race. It's going to be closest to whether he passes Purser and Young. He might allow them to carry on, although Young has lost a bit of time in this last lap. Van Roy's a bit damaged, but he is going to just about limp home. The opening round of the OGRL Coffee Cup for Season 3 is going to be won by David Van Roy, who is going to cross the line, battered and wounded, but he is the race winner. Checkered flag for him, and he wins in LMP2. Drive from him, slow and steady, winning the race on this occasion by 13 seconds ahead of Damien Horberton.
Oh, who's going to get this? It's Marshall and Westhead. They're fighting it out. Nick, don't give him room, son. You've got the lead. Just put your car where you need to put it. This could be a nice little tidy run up into the end here as these guys coming into Aqua Minerale. Again, that McLaren. Just stay where you are. Is Westhead going to get stuck behind him here, or is he going to get it done? Nope. Westhead made the mistake. And saying that, Marshall's also just made a mistake.
Now then, it could be on here, and it will be into the final corner. Westhead might well get through into fourth at the very end of this. Oh, and he pulls to the inside, just late on here, pulling past the McLaren that will stay on the outside line here, and Marshall breaks late. Westhead breaks late as well. Goes off, and Westhead's going to get fourth. Yeah,
that was the end of that one. Unfortunately for Nick Marshall, he's having a bit of a horrendous time off the side of the circuit again there. But Brian Faluna is going to come over the line for the GT3s.
That's me. Over the line, Brian Faluna takes the race victory in GT3. Marshall actually comes right back to pit lane instead of crossing the line, but it's Faluna who takes the win in GT3. Purser will be the only one who finishes on the lead lap with him, but a good race in GT3. A dominant performance from Brian Faluna. I don't think many people were expecting that.
Absolutely. Obviously, he'd done an absolutely stunning job and just sort of come through the field, overtook everybody, and away they go. It does look like Rick Modric has run out of fuel. So he's going to need a bump to get over the line if he can get one, and he jumps straight back to pit lane. So hopefully we'll be able to bring up the results soon as well. James Hillary, multi-class mayhem. Do you think we had mayhem or just some miscommunications?
Yeah, mayhem's probably a bit strong, but there was a lot of incidents, I think, throughout the day, but went on there in multi-class racing. Worth remembering as well that Imola is one of the most difficult circuits for multi-class racing anyway. So that probably didn't help at the end. I don't know if we're going to be able to bring up the results because of Modric.
No, we are. Just clicked over.
Oh, there we go. We are going to be able to see them. It is going to be David Van Roy who takes the race victory. Damien Horverton 13 seconds behind in the end. William Bailey in third, with Richard Westhead and Nicholas Marshall changing positions on the last lap there in LMP2 as well. In GT3, it was Brian Faluna who took the win, ahead of Alan Purser and Hayden Young, who got on the podium at the end as a result of Tim Probert's latest drive-through, unfortunately. Jonathan Williams finished in fifth place with Brad Tidwell just outside. Cody Bump, Brian Dukowski, Heath Ollinger and Brett Basil rounded out the top 10 with Curtis Matthews just outside of it. Carl Modric next, ahead of Greg Tax, who had to make that late pit stop. Rick Modric had to retire with running out of fuel at the end. The race went on 1 lap longer than he was expecting. John Gardner was next, ahead of Cole Modric, Mark Cossier, Chris Slane, and Bruno Hanno, who I don't think quite finished, but he did get through most of the race. Mitchell Bowen and Michael Champion retired pretty early on. Alfie Nichols couldn't get to the start of this race, unfortunately, after getting a bit ill here this afternoon, unfortunately for him. Let's have a chat then to David Van Roy then, shall we? The race winner here this afternoon. The opening round of the Coffee Cup this season. Congratulations, David, on the win. I mean, it was surely a nerve-wracking final few laps. Tell us how you were feeling after you made that bit of contact with the GT3 on the penultimate lap.
It was just, I am so tired because it's just such a long race. I'm sweating, it's hot. Feel really good about it, but I will tell you that lap, that did not need to happen. I don't know what, I got to go back and look at the replay and all that, but I'm like, basically just stopped in the middle of the track there, and I'm like, what are you doing? You got to kind of keep going, and unnecessary. I don't know why he did that, but we survived barely. And then I was right at the minimum or the maximum on incident points at that time. So I was comfortably okay, and then got a 4X because, he stops in the middle of the track. And I'm like, oh my God. So had to nurse it around the last lap and bring it home. But yeah, long race.
Yeah, 20 minutes longer this season, which is certainly having an impact. And the multi-class rating as well is first race in the multi-class format for the Coffee Cup season. It tells how it was generally, apart from that incident itself. How was the lap traffic to do with as a faster LMP2?
It was really good. Outside of that one incident, everybody was really good at just kind of moving around and letting everybody know, kind of signaling where they were going to go. And at least that was what I saw. So I thought everybody did really good. I think we've got a couple of things we need to work on in terms of the classes and stuff, which we'll get all figured out. But I thought everybody did really good. I'd like to see more people in the LMP2s, except for Alfie. He can go ahead and switch over to GT3s if he wants. But yeah, I think we need to get a little bit more balance. But I enjoyed it a lot.
Absolutely, it was good to see you out there again. Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, just as always, the league is doing a great job, and then appreciate my wife giving me the opportunity to do this on Sunday mornings, and it's just been nothing but support for me. And a little shout out to AT&T as well. They're actually sponsoring me this year. Give me a couple of dollars. That's who I work for. So AT&T, appreciate it.
So seeing it on the front of your car here today, bringing it home with the victory. Congratulations, David, and thanks very much for coming to have a chat with us as well.
You got it. Thanks, you guys. Great job.
Thanks very much, David Van Roy, the winner here this afternoon. I didn't know there was got a real sponsor on the front as well. There you go. Able to get them to the victory lane, as it were, if you are American. Let's have a chat to Demian Hoverton, who was runner-up here at the end of this one as well. Demian, welcome in. Good to have you with us. Second place for you at the end, and it was a drive-through that really undid your race. Just tell us a little bit about that.
So, difficult to swallow it, definitely, after leading the race for 30 laps. What can I say? Quality P1 ran away at the start, but had some consistency issues. Picked up incident points and then did magic 15 laps without a single one. And then that small dink gave me the 12, and I went into the pits. And that's it. Tried to go for the fastest lap afterwards. Got a 16.1, but invalidated it in the final corner. So, I mean, I'll take a P2, but hopefully it's going to be my drop week.
And what does it mean for the rest of the season then? You're hoping that you can win all the other races, or how has this made you feel going into the rest of the season?
The hopes are high. I main the prototypes, specifically the GTPs, so the LMP2 is a bit closer to me than GT3 is. I'll keep on working, keep on pushing, and I hope for a win. Definitely today I could have had it, but for the rest of the season, we'll see.
All right, I'm going to butt in here. How do you see that incident that gave you that extra dink?
I'd say it's a I wouldn't blame it on myself. I wouldn't blame it on Cole either. I'd say it's just him racing for position and me racing for position. And, it happens. It's racing. I'm not mad. It's just a bit sad.
Okay. I'll go back in my box.
That's pretty much the same. It's pretty much the same conclusion we came to be honest with you. Obviously, you had the drive-through penalty. Almost gave you a penalty in a weird roundabout way. But anyway, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
My friend Yakov, my girlfriend Marta, my family, and you two guys for putting on a show every week.
Thanks very much. We'll hopefully see you in 2 weeks' time at Monza. But thanks very much for coming to chat to us this afternoon, and congratulations on second place here today.
Thank you very much. See you.
Thanks very much. That's Demi Norvidin in second place
That's a lot of
overall.
people.
He was third in the LMP2 class and overall. And welcome in, Will. Good to have you with us. How did you find the opening race of the season in the LMP2s, ending with a podium for yourself?
I gotta say, I'd rather be lucky than good, and it worked out this time because all the fast guys didn't show up today except for 2 of them. So hey, I got third.
Wait, you were still faster than half the field in LMP2 of those that were here. So how did you feel out there? Do you feel comfortable in the LMP2? Multi-class at Imola is a pretty tough way to start.
Oh man, it's very, very rough, and I don't feel comfortable at all. It's kind of the fun, but it's kind of not at the same time. If you understand, like, I don't know that I was prepared enough for this one.
Well, it's if you've not prepared enough and still got onto the podium, I'd say it's a pretty good day, all in all, if you consider it all. Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
I'd like to give a shout out to Bradley Lovings and everyone that puts this on. I know there was a little bit of confusion at the beginning, but it ended up being a great race, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to see you out there and getting third place here today. And hopefully we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. Thanks very much for coming to have a chat with us.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks very much. That's Will Bailey, third place in LMP2 here today. Let's go down to GT3 now, and Brian Fuller, who has taken the race victory in the class. Congratulations, Brian, on a dominant victory here at Imola this afternoon. Tell us a little bit about your race and how you feel at the end of it, because you looked, I've got to say, quite a lot quicker than anybody else in the field here today.
Yeah, I just felt very comfortable. I actually was surprised, to be honest. Like, I was looking at Garage 61 and I saw I was like still 2 seconds off the pace, and I was pretty downbeat on that. But then, once I got into a rhythm today, like, it just kind of all clicked. It worked. The setup, everything. Like, I wasn't sliding. I wasn't understeering. Like, the setup was probably about as perfect as it was going to get for my skill. So it was a good day. Actually fueled the car this time the right way at the pit stop, instead of underfueling it like in Canada. So, learned my lesson.
Absolutely. And it got you home with a pretty big margin at the end as well. Do you feel like this is something you can go and repeat throughout the rest of the rounds, or is Imola a circuit you really have a good grasp on?
I think it's probably more circuit specific. Like, this is just one of those days where everything clicked. The car, the setup, the track, the conditions. I don't think I can repeat that going forward. I disagree with David. He can keep Alfie in the LMP2s. So me and Hayden can duke it out on a week-to-week basis. There was another individual, I didn't catch his first name, but Probert in the McLaren. He looked very quick. So I'm looking forward to a challenge every week, and I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah, except that no one wants Alfie Nichols in their class. He's his own car.
Hey, David, we can put him in the hypercar. He can be a lone wolf.
Put him on his own. Yeah. Anyway, well, congratulations on winning GT3 here this afternoon, Brian. Is there anybody you'd like to shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, thanks to my wife, who's looking over my shoulder right now as she stares at the back of my head while I'm sitting in my rig. Bradley, the guys, Mike, you, JP, you, Ewan, like, awesome. Happy to be part of the league. love what you guys are doing, and can't wait to get to the next race.
I can't remember if we've asked you this before, by the way, but are you in California and is it 8:20 in the morning?
I am not in California. I am still in Kansas.
Okay.
I don't know how to change that other than asking iRacing to change it. So I'm just gonna keep everyone guessing and let them think I'm in California. I'm just real hardcore getting up at 4 in the morning for this.
Yeah, it's very early, isn't it? I feel like I might have asked you that before, but I've forgotten the answer. So thanks for clarifying again if I've asked you that before. Either way, congratulations tonight or today, Brian, and we'll hopefully see you in a couple of weeks.
All right. Thanks, fellas.
Take care,
enjoy the rest of your
Thanks
day.
so much. That's Brian Faluna, winner in GT3 here. Was it him I asked that before?
Probably.
Somebody else. Probably.
I'm just going to go and assist him.
My memory is not very... Not very good. Alan Purser has not unfortunately joined us for a chat, but Hayden Young has after third place here this afternoon. Congratulations, Hayden, on a podium. You were quite close to getting on terms with Alan Purser at the end there and passing him. Tell us about those final few laps.
Yeah, that was really difficult, real sweaty one. That was hard work, but I was just starting to gain in just bit by bit, and yeah, he was quick. He was quick. Brian was in a completely different league. Absolutely, just. I don't know what he's got in the back of that Porsche, but yeah, it was good fun though. Enjoyed it, but yeah.
We've obviously had GT3 racing in the past, and you've drove the Porsche last season, so that's nothing new. But the multi-class element is. How did you feel the multi-class element of this race was?
Yeah, I don't mind the multi-class anyway. I do a lot of the 24 hours and the Le Mans and stuff like that, so it's not too bad. I don't mind the traffic and the stuff like you've just got to choose sort of when you let them pass. But yeah, we'll see over the next is it five races? It's a short season, this one, isn't it?
Yeah, 5 more races to go at the in sort of regular season racing. So yeah, we will see. Is there anybody you'd like to go shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, I'll just shout out to everyone who's watching me. I think my daughter's watching me and other people. My teammate behind me, Tim, it was his first race as well. So yeah, congrats to him on the 4th. Lucky to get a drive through. So yeah, anyway, the new boys, well done.
Well, thanks so much for coming to have a chat with us at the end of the day, and congratulations on a podium in the opening race.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Thanks very much. That's Hayden Young in 3rd in GT3. And a little bit further down in 11th, Curtis Matthews has had come down to have a chat with us as well at the end of that one. Welcome in, Curtis. Good to speak to you. 11th place in the GT3 class at the end of the race here today. How did you find the opening race of the season?
It was interesting because I didn't know where I was actually because how the standings were. So basically, I got in 1st for Acura's apparently.
Yeah, you can blame Mr. Lovins apparently.
But no, it was a lot of fun. Definitely interesting with all the cars in the LMP2 now. So it was a great time. It was. I had a great time seeing everyone back on the track again after our break.
Yeah, I can't imagine iRacing, by the way, has told you many times that you're first and last at the same time. But that's probably what it was saying at some point in the Acura. It was a weird start to the day, but you were able to work your way through the field in the end. How did it feel out there to have multi-class traffic for the first time with LMP2s as well as GT3s in this season?
I like it. It just gives you something more cautious to... let me try to think how to word it. You have to pay more attention now of what's going on around you compared to just like what's in front of you. You actually have to kind of like see what's kind of behind you and how you want to race it. Like I know there was an incident with me and Will going into that tight chicane where he came up, took the outside and I took the inside and I hit the rumble strips and I spun around. And he even told me afterwards, he's like, dude, I should have waited. And it was all good. We're having fun. It's the first race. It's nothing overboard. And yeah, everyone's learning, especially with the LMP2s now, because now we brought that into the season, which we haven't done before. So it's a learning experience, but it's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. It's good to see you back out there again, of course, in the new season. Is there anybody you'd like to shout out before we let you go?
No, just want to say out you guys for always doing a good broadcast. I would say Bradley, but I think he kind of dropped the ball a little bit on this race today. So I'll hold him out till next week. But of course, my wife, as always, let me do this, and we're getting ready to go watch the F1 race in Bahrain here in a few minutes.
Well, yeah, you've already missed the start.
Yeah,
Never mind.
apparently she's yelling at me. So
You better go.
Yeah,
all right,
we'll-
I'll
we'll-
see you
we'll let
guys.
get to it.
I'll see you guys later in the GR86 race in Detroit.
Yes, you will, dear sir.
Absolutely. Yeah, see you later.
See you guys.
It's Curtis Matthews, who is 11th here today in GT3, who is often will be on JPB a little bit later on, as he said. That's it, though, for the opening round of the OGRL Coffee Cup here at Imola. A good opening experiment with GT3 and LMP2 racing on at the same time, and I think it worked out quite well. A close race for the lead in LMP2. Lots of battles throughout the race in GT3 as well, and a slightly extended 20 more minutes of racing as well on every day compared to what we had last season.
Yeah, I think it's been good. I've enjoyed it. You know, we could do a few more LMP2s. So if you are in a GT3 and you want to swap over, you know, go for it. I think that would be cool as well. So, yeah, I'm going to look forward to this season and see what goes on.
Absolutely. We're massively looking forward, of course, to the next round of the championship, which has been chosen by you. And it will be at the Monza with no chicanes layout. That's going to be very interesting for 75 minutes to see what's going to happen there. Lots of slipstream and perhaps 2 pit stops as well, because they'll be burning so much fuel. We'll wait and see on that. We're not here next week, of course, because it is Easter, so we'll be holding off until 2 weeks' time, the 27th of April, for our second round of the championship. So I hope that you can join us for that then. I've been Ewan alongside James Parfitt. Until we see you at Monza in 2 weeks' time, it's goodbye for now.